Alright, got a neat package in from GoPro. Reminder, embargo is September 4th at 6 a.m. So that's probably when I'm uploading this video. That gives me about a week or so to play with this, and I'll let you know at the end my favorite things about it and my least favorite things about it. GoPro has a special place in my heart because my very first upload on this channel was actually like a GoPro comparison video. And that was like the Hero 5. This is the Hero 13, and a lot has changed since then. I mean, back then they were the one and only action cameras, but now they have a bit more competition from DJI and now Insta360, but GoPro will always be the original action camera. Ooh. But I think the big thing here is the macro lenses, wide angle lens, and ND filters. But all these lenses have auto detection, so when you slap it on, you don't have to change any settings or anything. The GoPro just knows, like, oh, I'm on a wide angle, or an anamorphic lens. That's another thing that they are coming out with later. Also a magnetic mount. I don't know why I'm showing you a piece of paper when the actual thing is. So magnetic mount is something that both DJI and Insta360 have been doing, so they are kind of playing catch up right now. Now, can you go in backwards? Oh, you can go in backwards, okay. But also you have your feet and quarter 20 underneath. Also, newer, bigger battery. Unboxing complete. You want to see something cool?
Yeah, let's see something cool.
We're heading down to Mexico right now for a little road trip, and we're bringing this thing along.
Oh, GoPro.
Ooh. What do you guys think about GoPro right now? Be honest.
Be honest, well, I think DJI is catching up.
I feel like it's actually healthy competition. Right now, GoPro can't just like put out another version that's slightly different. They actually have to do stuff.
So they did stuff. Hold on, the bottom
First
piece.
of all, that little bottom clasp looks life-changing. How quickly that magnetizes and comes on and off.
Goes on either way pretty easily. I know the DJI one, I think you can force it in with the clamp, but you're constantly fighting the magnet if you put it on the other direction.
What about the session? Is the session coming back?
I don't think there's a session, but there's gonna basically be a small version of this, and it's 199 bucks.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have the capabilities of this, but still, like 199 bucks for GoPro.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's this one running?
399. Ultra wide angle.
Twist, and we're good.
So now auto detect the auto.
There it is.
So now this is the ultra wide lens.
I had one for my Hero 10. I couldn't just pop the lens on and go.
Yeah.
I had to go in, change the settings, change it to the ultra wide lens, and then go back and then go to recording.
Yeah.
That's nice with this. You can just swap it, detects it.
Now for one of the new lenses. So, oh, I see there's the blue dot right there. So that will line up with that. Check it out.
Ooh, it's a macro.
Macro lens.
You know what's crazy though?
What is
this ring right here?
It's a focusing ring.
Yeah, it's a focusing ring.
Wow.
On a GoPro.
This is giving me the idea that there's probably more lenses to come. Maybe telephoto-ish, maybe something like that.
Or a anamorphic lens.
GoPro, you finally have my attention.
It is interesting because they are taking a different approach.
Yeah, no, this is smart.
Yeah.
This is very smart.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume I'm not gonna like how it looks with its default settings because of the sharpness. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that down. So here's how that looks.
Does it have like focus peaking or false color?
There's supposed to be focus peaking.
I was just kidding, but wow, okay.
Yeah. I guess we need to get insurance. That's cool, just be able to grab insurance real fast through a drive-through.
It's like McDonald's.
All right, we're about to cross the border.
Looks like we're just cruising through.
I think getting in is gonna be super easy, but getting
Coming
out
back, yeah.
it takes some time.
Yeah, getting out is always a couple of hours.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it? I don't even get a stamp?
Mexico! All right, we gotta play rock, paper, scissors for the best room. First place gets this room. Oh, I got the wrong lens for this. This is the macro lens. David, you do real estate stuff,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
It's all about the wide angle lens,
Gotta
right?
have the wide angle.
It just makes like a small space look big.
Exactly.
David has gone into real estate mode with the GoPro.
Dude, the dynamic range on this is pretty good.
Not bad, huh?
Like I can see all of the outside and inside.
GoPro's always been pretty good with dynamic range and color too. This is gonna be our new real estate camera.
Right? What do you shoot on?
GoPro.
GoPro 13.
And you're charging me $6,000 to film this house? I'm gonna use the macro lens on my hand right here. Rock, paper, scissors, bam! Oh! Oh! I got the ultra wide angle lens on here, and this is called ultra hyper view. What? Look how wide this is.
Oh my god. It almost looks like 360 camera when you put it in that super wide view, like almost like the globe view.
Yeah, look at the curvature. Whoosh. The distortion around the edges, it's like crazy.
You're right here.
Yeah, you can still see the door.
That's
Or
crazy.
through the door.
Yeah, this is near 180
That's
degrees.
near
It's like
180.
ultra wide angle, necklace mode. Let's walk around town. Whoa, whoa, okay. What are you supposed to do with your nuts? Whew.
Oh, that last part though.
I know. Hey. Now we are gonna take the GoPro out for a night session. Has the low light improved at all? And then this is where I cut to like the sad music. Ultra wide lens on the iPhone versus the GoPro. Get out of here, Frank. You're showing up with your 1-inch sensor. We're comparing ultra wide angles. Only Frank.
I know.
Get out of here with your 24mm, you stupid ass. Cheater. We're locked out of our Airbnb. I think we got back too late. Day 2 in Mexico. So far, I've been just kind of testing out GoPro standard color, but now I'm gonna hop it into GoPro log, which was introduced in the previous version. Should give me a little bit more control over the image and dynamic range. I imagine if you're using this camera professionally, this is the setting you would want to use. Get the most amount of dynamic range and control over your footage in post. I'll try that out for a little bit. I won't really tweak the footage too much. I'll just kind of slap the lid on. Woo! Now, one of the advantages of DJI's action camera is that it can receive a wireless microphone straight into the camera, which is nice. GoPro can do that, but you have to plug some stuff into the camera. Well, actually, quick correction. Turns out you can connect to Bluetooth devices and headphones like AirPods, but we know AirPods are probably not going to sound that good. But I have this DJI mic too that I'm connected to the GoPro, so you're listening to that audio right now. So technically we can connect wireless microphones straight to the camera, which is cool. But one thing I did notice about these microphones in particular is that it doesn't seem to transmit the full audio quality all the time to all Bluetooth devices. Here is how the microphone sounds when it's full quality, and here's how this microphone sounds when it's transmitted to the GoPro. I feel like for some reason I hear like a drop in quality when I switch between full quality, which we're listening to right now, and then the transmission to the GoPro, which tends to be lower quality. So maybe I need to test different microphones, but what GoPro does have is timecode capabilities. These Rode Wireless Mic Pros also have timecode in it, so I can sync all of our microphones up that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw on this clip right here and just magnetically attach you for POV angle, and let's go ride. Honestly, I'm having a lot more fun than I thought I was gonna have. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a little nervous, like going down through there. And I'm like hitting the bumps and like, it's freaky, but this is so sick.
This view is awesome though.
Yeah, dude. Dude, this is kind of crazy that they just like go, here's the ATVs, now go have fun.
Go have fun.
Try not to die.
Yeah.
I love Mexico.
If you're not back in an hour, we'll send a search party.
Yeah. Oh, but, oh my gosh.
That's close.
Alright, I think I'm getting the hang of it.
I gotta say, this seems like the perfect chance to test out some burst high frame rate right now. 400 frames per second at 720p.
400?
400.
On the GoPro.
On a GoPro. 400, which is pretty crazy because it's like, right now, like the standard I think is like 240. And then the GH6 can do like 300. And we're like, whoa, 400. Of course, 720p, but still like that's fun. And I could record for 15 seconds. So that's actually a decent buffer.
Do we still retain log settings?
No.
No log.
When you go into burst mode, it's just like 8-bit. So no log, just kind of, and also a pretty heavy crop in. So let's try that out. So 400 frames per second, I'm a sucker for super slow-mo, so really excited to see this, even though it's 720p, so you could definitely see a loss in resolution, but you could still see these particles of sand. We could get a little bit more resolution by dropping down to 360 frames per second. So this is 900p, so almost full HD, but not quite there because full HD is 1080p. This is 900. Again, this burst lasts for 15 seconds while you're recording, and if you convert this 15-second shot into 30 frames per second, you end up with a shot around 3 minutes. Or at 400 frames per second and you convert it to 24 frames per second, then your 15-second shots get stretched out to over 4 minutes. So like an entire music video shot in 15 seconds basically. There's a lot of specs like resolution where once you get to a certain point, you don't really need that much more because you can't really tell the difference. But when it comes to high-speed frame rates, I will take every frame I can possibly get. You really have to go specialty like the Ember to get super slow-mo, which costs $18,000. So honestly, when it comes to specs, 400 frames per second inside of a GoPro, I think this is really cool. Have you ever bought an action camera?
Yeah, GoPro 8.
Oh, that's the one where you can't take off the lens and swap it out.
Yeah.
That one sucks because of that reason. This one you can't.
Okay, it's a twist off.
Yeah. Anamorphic lens time.
Really? No way.
Isn't that crazy? Anamorphic on a little GoPro?
Crazy that you are getting an anamorphic lens.
Yeah.
Oh, and you get the actual streaks.
That's crazy, huh? An action cam with an anamorphic lens.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, you could do some J.J. Abrams, like,
Something exciting, right?
what is this, like a foot away from the camera? And I'm getting the entire car in frame. That's crazy. We should mention that this anamorphic lens is super early, not just like pre-production, but right now, I guess there's only 7 in the world. So they said to be extra careful with it.
I don't think safe is in your vocabulary.
Sure it is. Safely flying FPV. I can do that. I think they said early 2025 is when the final one's gonna come out. So, you know, there's still a lot of work to do on the optics and the way it looks and all that. So this is not final by any means, but the fact that I can fly anamorphic pretty easily now. That is cool. Probably getting a nice flare right here. How does anamorphic look? Does it look gorgeous? Don't worry, it's got propeller guards. If it hits my face, it's not a big deal. I'm dying to know how this footage is gonna come out. Anamorphic. So all these lenses auto detect, but also these ND filters also auto detect, and it could actually give you a recommendation on if you need to go up or down on your ND filters. Yeah, shutter is on auto cinematic. I do like that you don't have to use the magnetic system, that you could just pull these feet out too, because it is lower profile. And GoPro did also mention that it's better to mount directly on the camera instead of using the magnet if you are attaching it to something with high vibrations. It's not nearly as easy as just attaching a magnet, but it does sit a little bit tighter to the drone. So how's it look with this ND filter? Does it look extra fast? GoPro did put out a little teaser on this Hero 13, so I asked you guys on Instagram what you think. Giordano says, new FPV beast. Well, I wonder if there's a way to trigger that 400 frames per second on this GoPro while it's flying. Another thing that GoPro did really well is that you can shoot stabilized and then stabilize it more with Real Steady afterwards. Mike Griffin says they better get this one right, or this could be the end of GoPro. So what do you guys think? I mean, is this done right with different lenses? Let me know down there in the comments. Sir Francis says, looks like it turned mini, but if it's just a size difference, I don't think it's gonna be enough. So actually, I think it's the same size. I mean, there is the smaller version of this that is $199, but this actually is the same size, so it fits in the media mod still. I think I covered most things, but GoPro sent over this deck. See if there's anything interesting in there. So we already went over all these lenses. Interesting to see that it's still waterproof even with like the macro lens, but only down to 1 meter or 3.5 feet. Ultra wide anamorphic lens mods down to 16 feet. Oh, this is good to know that the Max Lens Mod 2.0 is compatible with the 13 Black, but it will not auto detect, so you just have to manually punch in the settings. Opposed to the ultra wide lens mod now will auto detect, and here are all the different aspect ratios you get out of it. What's interesting is the 1x1 right here. Basically just record a perfect 4K square and you could extract a horizontal or vertical out of it. But even without this lens mod, you still get 8x7, which is still like almost a square basically. Oh, it's 177 degrees. You know how we were saying almost 180 degrees? There you go. Onto the macro lens mod. I do want to spend more time with it. I feel like you can get some really cool stuff. They gave us this example here of this is how it usually is, and with the macro lens mod, really cool. So yeah, GoPro officially has the best close focus as far as I know. Action cameras generally have just a fixed focus lens. There's no autofocus in there. You just don't really want moving parts on something that's going to be like banged around a whole bunch, right? So it's just fixed focus at infinity. So I just love being able to rack that focus in. It's all new battery at 10% capacity. I mean, yeah, I guess it's better, but I didn't really notice it. I still have to like consistently charge it. So better battery life, sure, but nothing crazy. But this is definitely new right here, how it has kind of like the heat sink. So it's less likely to overheat, which is obviously important. So this chart right here is definitely worth taking a good look at if you're worried about overheating. How long can you record for in what settings? And this is without airflow. But I love how they just kind of give you all this info right here, opposed to having to test it yourself. But overall, less likely to overheat, but it still can overheat. Oh, and they also have this like magnetic charging thing that you could basically replace your battery door and it'll charge it. Keeps your camera running, and it's still waterproof. So you can actually literally charge the camera underwater, which I don't personally see a need for right now, but who knows? Maybe I'll just need to plant a camera in like a Olympic pool or something and just let it run forever. There's also this like HDR mode, but personally I'm probably just gonna shoot and log. Audio tuning optimized for your activities. So that's one thing I did seem like I noticed. Like in Mexico, aside from riding those ATVs with the Rode Wireless Pros, like the rest of the time it was just the onboard mic on the camera, and I feel like it sounded okay. I mean, it's not the best audio, of course, compared to like an actual dedicated microphone, but I want to say that out of an internal mic on an action camera, it's probably got to be the best I've heard. You want to be in the video? You want to be in the video? Peter says she wants to be in the. Oh, she just took a shower. You're wet.
She's all zoomy because she just took a bath.
Oh, is that what's going on? Oh my gosh. Oh, Wi-Fi 6, so 40% faster Wi-Fi speed. That's always nice. And GPS is back. So let's say you're racing motorcycles or something. There'll be an option to overlay your speed on the footage. So here's the lineup right here. I am curious about the little Hero. Like, I know it doesn't have the capabilities of the Hero 13 Black, but it seems small and cute. So I'm just gonna scroll through these specs real quick, so feel free to pause if there's anything that catches your eye. But I wanna say one of the most important things that's not on the spec sheet that they mentioned on the call is that this is supposed to be much more stable than the previous version. But basically, they build on previous versions, and sometimes it just gets buggy if you evolve it too many times. But basically, for the 13, they just completely started from the ground up. At least that's what they said, or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying that right or communicating that right, but yeah. During my 1 week of testing this thing, I didn't notice any sort of glitch or hiccups or anything like that. Everything just seemed to work good. So yeah. Good news. So overall thoughts. I think the most interesting is the macro lens. The coolest thing is the anamorphic lens. And the most fun thing is that super slow-mo 400 frames per second. My least favorite thing has to be the lack of just like low light improvements. And I think that's why a lot of us want a bigger sensor, is for better low light. Now, a bigger sensor also means shallower depth of field, which a lot of times we do like a shallower depth of field, right? Because it might look more cinematic, but also, action cameras have fixed focus, so it's always just kind of fixed out to infinity, right? So if you don't have a way to pull that focus in, then you're just like, you can't really get close to the camera. But I do feel like having interchangeable lenses on a GoPro, it does feel like the next step. Like, now I'm starting to feel excited again for GoPros. I still have my hopes and dreams of, them making something more pro, like a 1-inch sensor or micro four thirds even, and then having like different lenses that you could maybe manual focus on there, even if it's bigger and more expensive or whatever. But overall, I am rooting for GoPro because they are the pioneers of action cameras. They really changed the game in action cameras. I bought the first Hero, right? You had to put it in the case to mount it into things. It was not waterproof out the box. I've been a fan for a long time, so I want to see this keep going.